In the LTI, I learned so many life-changing principles. Whether it was the idea that sometimes the most spiritual thing to do is to take a nap, or finding healthy rhythms in your own life is key before you try and help other people find rhythms in their lives. But I have to say that the most transformational thing that I learned during the LTI was that ultimately the results of our leadership in our lives as Christians are in God's hands. The results being the fruit of our lives, and God is ultimately in charge of that. Paul writes in 1 Thessalonians that the one who calls you is faithful, and he will do it. He will do it. And while as leaders and indeed as Christians, we have responsibilities, we have to get work done, and we have things in front of each day that God wants us to accomplish, ultimately the results of these things aren't our responsibility, they're God's. And throughout church history, we've seen different extremes on the topic of fruitfulness. Some schools of thought would say that God does everything and we're more like passengers on the bus. And another extreme would be that without people, God wouldn't get anything done. But to me, what stuck out during this short school was the idea that simple obedience is the most profound principle. As leaders, and simply just as Christians, we need to be listening to God, hearing his voice, and then making sure that we're obedient to what he's told us. Not worrying about the results while being invested in being fruitful people. So that's something that I'm going to take with me out of this school and into the rest of my life. My name is Ramsey, and I did the Winter LTI Leadership Training Intensive.